A little late. We haven't had an episode in a few weeks due to some technical difficulties. I got sick. As you can tell, I haven't had a haircut in a while. It's been a little wild here. We have a lot to discuss. But good thing we're coming in with a little football season recap. We're going to get things kicked off. I've been talking about the Las Vegas Bowl against Wisconsin. We're going to be talking about the U of A game, the past couple of games for ASU. And then we're going to talk some hoops at the very end as well, some ASU hoops. So, Josh, I will let you kick things off. How successful was HERM'S fourth year at ASU? 8-4, just another 8-4 year. Higher expectations, had some bad losses, didn't really have any really good wins. What do you think of the schedule? What do you think of HERM'S fourth year?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of thoughts on obviously ASU football because I've been holding back for like 3 weeks, man. It's been rough. Like you said, we've had some technical difficulties and then some flu scares here and there, but I'm glad to be back and glad to be talking some football and ASU sports with you. And yeah, I mean, Herm Edwards finished up his fourth year with the program. He just got extended too. For anyone that didn't know, he got extended to I'm pretty sure come back throughout the 2024 season.
So I don't think it was an extension. I think it was just confirmed that he was coming back for one more year, unless I missed something. But
okay, no, I know he's coming back for sure for the 2022 season. I think I saw something, not 100% sure on this, but he could be, potentially coming back for another 3-4 years.
Oh yeah, so I just looked up. That was actually in 2020 that he signed a 2-year extension to stay through 2024. So I don't know about options and stuff like that. So you never know if there's a
whatever. Some new stuff coming out.
And buyouts in nowadays market, buyouts never really matter. They'll buy out anyone.
And I hope we're getting so off topic, but I hope the main flagship show has really covered this week. This past week in college football has just been the most insane week I think we've ever seen in the sport regarding just coaches jumping ship and going to a whole nother program, millions and millions of dollars being tossed in the pot. And hey, there's still there's still I think one job left, the Oregon job.
Because that just opened up. Well, I think they have an interim head coach, and I think a lot of the players there have been arguing for that guy to get the full-time job. So
yeah, and
we'll see.
That's the move because you saw that's what happened with Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator, being promoted. But anyways, man, we could have a whole other segment on that. But when you look at Herm Edwards' season, the first thing that comes to mind is I want to be a little disappointed. But then, you have to go back and you have to look and you have to, think about how, the Pac-12 operates. And, this is, I think, one of the best performances that we will get from Herm Edwards. And, it's hard for me to say that when, his first year with the program, we finished 8-5. I'm not sure that we had such a veteran presence around the team then. I think the offense was a little more established, but the defense was nowhere near where it was this year.
Yeah.
And it's tough to pick and choose, but at the end of the day, he finished the same record as his first year, and he kind of had more than that. The COVID year to kind of really take things slow and prepare for that year, with a year where you're going to have, a veteran defense or a veteran quarterback running the offense. And, we had a couple games that I think we should have won. We didn't win them. I think there's a couple games where, you need to put up 40+ points, get some respect, within the conference and whatnot. We didn't do that. We did have a couple good wins. We had some bad losses as well. Second in the South with a 8-4 record, 6-3 in the conference is okay when you look at it. But UCLA finished 6th and 30th in the conference as well, and that team had a couple bad losses and had a couple good wins. But I think we were better than them. Tying them in the conference with the conference record is not okay with me. I think we were further along in the program than them. And then just, there was one thing that was stable throughout the whole year that if it's not fixed by next year, I'll just be at a complete utter loss of words. But penalties were a big thing that went into a lot of problems with this team this year, and that's just something that you got to fix. I mean, you could talk about not being in the not having fans in the stands, after a year, and changes a lot of things at the line of scrimmage. It does. And usually you have those rounded out around the 6th or 7th game of the season,
Yeah.
and that wasn't the case this year. But I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on how to assess this season. We could talk about highs and lows all day, but what were some of the biggest takeaways that you had from Herm's season, and ultimately at the end of the day, finishing with presumably, I think we're going to lose against Wisconsin, and we will finish the year 8-5, the same as the first year that Herm got into the program. So, tell me your thoughts.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a lot to say about it. As you know, I've been an ASU fan pretty much my entire life now, and I've been going to games, attending games. I've seen many different coaches, different players. I've seen it all, and it begs the question is, where is your expectations as an ASU fan? Like, yes, we want to be competing for Rose Bowls. Yes, we want to be winning Pac-12 titles, let alone Pac-12 South titles. I mean, we got to set realistic expectations. And the reason why on paper this year looks fine, 8-4 bowl game, you're playing against a good team in Wisconsin. You got a pretty good bowl. Like, you finished third in the Pac-12. On paper, pretty solid year. But grand scheme of things is, this was your year. You should have beat BYU. You should have beat Utah up 2 touchdowns at halftime. I mean, you basically rolled over, just non-competed in the second half. You should have beat Washington State. And then, I mean, you lost to Oregon State fair and square, but I mean, you're a more talented team than them. There's no reason why this team was less talented than anyone they played. And they very easily could have been undefeated. And, talking about, I don't even want to talk about a college football playoff because that's asinine with the way this team's played. But, there's no reason this team shouldn't have been in the Pac-12 title when you look at it all and just compare everything and how every game went individually. But the cherry on top that makes it even more disappointing was everyone knows, like, oh, this was ASU's year with the seniors and, with all this talent culminating together to make this one final dance before the NCAA investigation comes down and, rains thunder upon our parade. But the cherry on top of it all was Lincoln Riley going to USC. And the reason why that made our season so much more disappointing is because it was a huge slap in the face to say, wow, the conference was wide open this year. Like, and Utah won it. And no disrespect to Utah, they're a fantastic team. They got red hot at the end of the year. But, people didn't have them preseason, top 15, top 10 as a Pac-12 champion should. And this year was so down. And now it's probably USC's to run with Cristobal darting ship. Oregon's kind of starting over. Washington had one of the worst years I've remembered from them in recent memory. So, ASU presumably is going to get a lot worse, and USC is going to get a lot better. And Utah is, I don't know if Whittingham's going to retire like John Wilner has been reporting. And he's very adamant on that because he's tweeted it multiple times in a row. But there's just a lot here, and you got to assume that USC is now this powerhouse, and it just makes it that much more disappointing for ASU fans because really, if it's not this year, then when? And that's the question that has to be asked. And I don't really blame Herm Edwards on the surface. I do blame him if you go through a lot of individual games, the reoccurring penalties, as you mentioned, the Washington State game, turning the ball over 3 times in the first 3 possessions, like stuff like that is on coaching to a certain point, but also it's on these players to execute too. So it's just that's why I really judge this season as a typical ASU season, because on the surface it looks okay. 3rd in the Pac-12, underneath just an absolute dumpster fire. And that's not even just for football either. I feel like that's for a lot of basketball seasons too. So
yeah, no, I agree with you in the sense that, when you look at, the record, the games we won, the games we lost, a lot of people that don't truly follow the program are going to sit there and say, hey, they lost to, top 10 ranked BYU. There's a 3rd game of the season. Like, that's expected. It really wasn't. It really wasn't. In the Utah game, people that aren't following the game just look at the final score and go, oh wow, they just lost. No, that was a utter collapse, from the second half into the through the first half of the Washington State game. Like our players were completely checked out, and I'm watching the game against Washington State when Jaden Daniels turns the ball over for the second time and he's smiling on the sidelines, and it's just like you just somewhat bring that on to Herm and the coaching, and
Yeah.
how you get these players prepared. But what I want to ask you this question: what do you think? It almost seems that with all the turmoil around the program and this year, the media, people who truly knew what was going on, it seemed as if he was like it was almost defensive in the way they came out and announced his return to the program. I saw a direct quote from Antonio Pierce. I don't even think it might have been reported already, or he might have been the one to kind of push him in the way. But he was like, "Yeah, word on the street is Herm's coming back. Write that shit." And he's like, "Write it." And it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, first of all, the media are gonna write anything that you say because that's our job is to report on the team and everything that's happening. You don't have to push it provocatively at us. Write that." It seemed as if, obviously there's emotion involved, and it seemed as if, he was just kind of pushing back to the reporters, like take that.
Yeah.
We have the utmost faith in, the coaches with this team. It seems as a letdown at some points when you look at, the bigger picture. But do you think, what I was getting back to my question, do you think that was mainly for the recruiting is what I was kind of getting at, under the investigation and the season ending and the recruits that are looking, and I have seen at least three nice transfers already to the football program. So I think that was really for the recruits that they were talking to just kind of affirm
So
that and be like, hey, I'm still here, I'm still with this program. What are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think what it is with this NCAA investigation, if you bring in some new coach that doesn't, isn't established, because we're not getting Lincoln Riley, who has this great already just pops into USC and is one of the best recruiters in the country. And just by saying, oh, Lincoln Riley at USC, that's enough to get somebody to go there. Not, you don't even have to really, just the name alone. I think that's why part of the reason why ASU kept him is because they're not going to get a lot of recruits if they start a new coach. And the thing I've said all along is I think they're using next year, they're going to use Herm Edwards as a scapegoat. They're going to pin the NCAA investigation on him, say, we had no idea, clean house. They're going to have a bad season next year because they're losing so much. I know Jaden Daniels is coming back, but I think they're going to use him as a scapegoat. And when they do go, 5-7 or, 4-8 next year, I think they're going to fire Herm. And I think they're going to use a bad season next year as that reason, so they don't have to pin that on a new head coach. That's my whole theory.
Yeah, I could, it's only time will tell, especially, with, this investigation. I mean, heck, this investigation results could not even be revealed, for another halfway through the next football season.
Yeah.
Seriously. But moving on, we kind of overflowed into the next topic, but it's okay. I think we're kind of, should we go? Okay, no, okay, we're on topic 2. So let's talk about this bowl game a little bit. This team has really worked hard this season, and I think this is honestly one of the most respectable bowl games they've received since I've been following the program. Florida State, the 2 years ago,
They were horrible.
that game. First of all, that game was a crapshoot. I mean,
I think we had 5 turnovers. We forced Florida State into 5 turnovers, and we still only scored like 13 points.
Ridiculous. There's literally it was like the Cowboys Raiders game on Thanksgiving. There's like 6 turnovers and like 300 yards and flags. So obviously we're not going to get that. I mean, sorry, we might get the flags, but we're not going to get that kind of game in Wisconsin. A very stout defense, Big Ten, just big body team. I don't even know the coach's name, but I know he's a powerhouse coach. He's been there for a while. This guy knows how to play football and knows how to coach the game. And, it seems like a formula that's been working for them. run the ball and have a great run defense. Because, I think one of the biggest things in football is you got to stop the run. The run opens up, so much more into the game. And, what was ASU's biggest weapon this year? It was our run defense. It was our running game. It was our, triple-headed monster, Jaden, Rashad White, and DeMonte Trainum. Well, two of those guys are gone. Trainum is in the transfer portal, and Rashad White is declaring for the draft as of today. Actually, probably figured he wasn't going to play in that bowl game, but the news is official today. He's going to prepare for the 2022 NFL draft, and man, I'm excited to watch that guy in the NFL. That dude is electric on the ground. I think he's just one of the better pure athletes in the Pac-12 for sure. And those guys always find a spot on the NFL roster, and it's usually one of the overlooked guys, and it takes a eagle eye and Bill Belichick to pick him up and put him in the championship spot. But what do you think? What do you expect of this team against obviously a big Big Ten?
Yeah, Big Ten.
In Wisconsin, what do you think is going to happen?
I'm expecting a lot, to be honest. I think there's a lot of players on this team that are very, very, what's the right word? Not necessarily faithful, but I think prideful in playing for ASU. The Chase Lucases of the world, those guys that, I mean, I hope I'm not going out on a limb by saying this because I haven't looked at a lot of draft boards, and I don't want to act like I'm a Wisconsin expert either. We'll have a show next week. We'll go, a little bit deeper into Wisconsin side and all that, but a lot of these guys I don't think will be playing in the NFL. I like Chase Lucas has been a great Sun Devil. He's done great things representing our school, representing our city, being a hometown kid, paving the path for recruits, all this stuff. I don't want any of those to go unmentioned, but I don't think he's going to be a starting corner or even playing on Sundays. So, I really think a lot of these guys, it could be their last game in the, playing football. And I like for my buddy Kyle Soley, he's gotten incredibly good while he's gotten at ASU, but I have no idea if he has any intention of playing the NFL. So could be his last game playing football, in his life. I expect a lot considering how old these guys are and where they are at in their career. Jaden Daniels has a lot to prove coming back next year. If he has a bad bowl game, there's going to be a target on his back, especially without these running backs. So, a lot of it's going to be on him. That's what I expect. I don't expect us to win, but I really do expect us to put a prideful effort up just because of where this team is at on the path,
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you on that. There's going to be leaders in this locker room that, make sure these players know how big of a bowl game this is. We can sit here and, talk about a letdown the season was, and, it didn't meet expectations, but look, these guys are playing football. This is a game they love, and they're playing Wisconsin in a great bowl game in Vegas. Just think about that. You're playing Wisconsin in Vegas. This team, when's the last time this team has played even a Big Ten powerhouse in that? And, they're going to get fired up. HERM'S going to get them ready. Man, I'm excited to watch. Obviously, there's a slew of bowl games on. The college football playoffs is exciting as hell. But, I don't think that, we come out on top. I think, that this Wisconsin defense is really going to test Jaden, honestly.
Yeah.
Test his arm, and they're going to test just his toughness. I think they're going to get to him. I think, obviously, we don't have Rashad White on the team or DeMonte Trainum. So, with Rashad White, heck, there's 100 pure yards of offense. Gone.
If not way more, if not probably 50% of our offense per game.
Right. I was trying to be a little closer to earth, but that guy, he was our well-oiled machine that carried us in games. And, I'm excited to see that Jaden step up to the plate in this game, or the defense is really going to step up in this game. And I think kind of what you talked about, a lot of veterans on this defense, a lot of guys who, might have aspirations for the NFL, but, it's a very, very small percentage of people that, even play college ball make it to the NFL. So, this could be the last game playing in the, maroon and gold. And you know what? Those guys are gonna ball out, man. Those guys are gonna give everything they've got, and I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that pregame just pregame hype talk. Everyone getting rowdy before the game, and it's gonna be exciting to watch. And I'll tell you what, it'll be a great defensive game.
No, absolutely. And I want to point out, like, just because ASU is missing a lot of players and, there's players going pro, that doesn't mean Wisconsin's not going to be missing players either. I mean, we got to expect they're usually a more pro caliber program than ASU. So we got to expect there's probably going to be players missing from their game. And, Wisconsin's a team that's played in Rose Bowls is, not like ASU where like a Rose Bowl should be, like a dream. And, they've the last one, oh, we've won one and U of A's never made it. Like, Wisconsin expects Rose Bowls. They're in them all the time. And I don't know how important this game is to them. I think we'll have a little bit better of a synopsis of who's playing for both teams probably as we get closer to the game. But so we're going to jump over into some hoops. Sorry. Finish off, Josh.
Stat check of the day. The last Rose Bowl Wisconsin was in was with Jonathan Taylor, the lead NFL back. They played Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, ASU, I don't know if we'll ever get to a Rose Bowl, but like, man, we usually stink in UCLA's arena anyway, in the Rose Bowl. So like when we play UCLA, so I don't know how well we play, but we're going to switch over to some hoops. ASU, they're interesting, Josh. If they hadn't have beaten Oregon, we'd probably be talking a bunch of junk on them because they beat Portland. They lost on the 3/4 court shot to UC Riverside at the buzzer. Beat North Florida, lost to San Diego State in a respectable game, put up a good fight against Baylor for a majority of the game. Kind of lost by 8, but it really wasn't that close to Syracuse. Got throttled by Loyola, Illinois, and then put up one of the worst basketball games I've ever seen, scoring 29 points against Washington State, where they were then 2-5 on the season, and there was a lot of question marks. And then what did they do? They go up into Oregon. They beat Oregon on a 3 that sent it to overtime with 11 seconds to go, and then a 3 with 3 seconds to go to win the game. Really pulled it out of their hearts, really out of their butts. It was a lot of things. And, we were really ready to write off this team. But what we got to remember is there's a lot of transfers that Bobby Hurley had to work with. We knew that with Remy Martin leaving. Really, the only 2 people back are Jalen Graham and Kamani Lawrence. There's not a lot, of continuity within the team. So they're really building up. And I think that Oregon game was a great example of A, the continuity, and B, that Pac-12 is wide open every year, baby. I know U of A is good. Oregon was the preseason favorite, though. I just want to point that out. Excuse me. But the Pac-12 is wide open every year. Who cares about the 2-5 non-conference? They are 1-1 in conference, baby. Or sorry, 2-4 non-conference. Don't mean to upset anyone. They are 1-1 in conference. They are half game off the lead from U of A at 2-0. I don't even know. I think they're 1-0 because one of their games got canceled. But we got a game coming up against GCU, Josh. I know you're excited about it. Talk to me about it. There's a return of some transfers, some old familiar faces for the Devils. Let's talk me through it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think first of all, that statement will never die. The Pac-12 is just wide open every year. I don't care who you have. I don't know if we could say that about Lincoln Riley and the USC though. But anyways, this GCU
You'll find a
game,
way to choke.
They will hopefully. This GCU game, man, there is some bad blood boiling in this one, boys. I mean, seriously. I don't know if anyone follows the program like we do, but seriously, Holland Woods, a great addition to the team last year. And Tayshaun Sherry, I wish I could say the same about him. But they are both playing for and Jalen House. No, did Jalen House go to the Lobos?
Yeah, he went to New Mexico State.
Oh, okay. It would have been crazy if Jalen House there literally would have had 3 starters that were on our team last year. And that would have just been like, they probably would have been hugging each other at halftime on the court. And I would have been like, get that off the TV. But no, there's some bad blood in here. We, forget all the starters returning Sun Devils, blah, blah, blah. We barely beat them last year on a buzzer beater 3 by Remy Martin, the catalyst of our team who is no longer there. So, the first thing I want to say, I haven't even looked at the Vegas spread. I don't have it on ESPN, but the first thing I want to say is it's going to be a very close game because we don't have that catalyst in Remy Martin now. I know Bobby Hurley went and really recruited his butt off, and he got a bunch of guys who are big time players, and they really can excel in the Pac-12.
Mhm.
I think we really saw that in the Oregon game where a team really came together, a great defensive showing against a obviously high caliber Pac-12 team. Oregon and their coach, Pat, forget his last name, but dude is one of the best in the business, and you see that year in and year out. And that
Dana
was just
Altman.
Dana Altman. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, he is a legend. Literally, he is a fantastic basketball coach. And I really don't do this much often, but I will give a shout out to Tommy Lloyd in his first year at the U of A. He's doing a fabulous job. Um, but yeah, I mean, this ASU team, what was the caption? Can we finish top 5 in the Pac-12? That's a long ways away. That really is. I mean, we have a really long season. This isn't COVID season anymore. We're gonna play a full schedule, and I think there's an opportunity for this team to come together and really play good basketball because the talent is 100% there. The coaching is 100% there. It's just going to take some time. I mean, we've seen these Bobby Hurley teams go on stretches, 11-0 run, 16-0 run, getting top 15 in the nation. Um, I think I would guess that this year our strength of schedule is higher than years past just because of since Bobby Hurley came to the program. You could put one good year together, you're going to start scheduling, better teams. Not sure how far in advance that is, but we've already played Syracuse, Loyola Chicago. They're a tournament team for the past couple of years. Syracuse, Buddy Boeheim and his father, great duo. And now GCU. What do you think? What are you expecting from this GCU game? It's at home, but we're seeing familiar foes.
Yeah, I also want to say I said Oregon was projected to finish first. I forgot UCLA was like preseason number 2 in the country. I totally forgot about that. But I was just looking at GCU schedule. They've beaten some good teams in Pepperdine, LMU. They beat UTSA, some respectable teams. So I'm really curious to see what ASU team shows up. I don't expect them to necessarily win because GCU was a tournament team. I think they should win. But that's just me saying that because it's like big brother versus little brother ASU. I don't really.
This is a typical ASU coming off a great win and just
lose by 20 to your in-state rival, and then so we'll see. Score prediction. ASU's been playing some really solid defense. They're really athletic. They they're long. They run around. They shoot a lot of threes, and they do not make a lot. Score prediction, I'm going to say 65 to 61 ASU wins. That's my score prediction. Before we head out, what about you? What is your score prediction? That game is tomorrow, correct?
Yes, tomorrow. I think around 6 o'clock.
7:30 Arizona time.
You got it. Pack the house, boys, back home. If you're listening to me, which I doubt it, but we need a crowd for this game. They're going to be hyped up. It's literally going to be like Tayshaun Cherry and Holland Woods' homecoming game. They played on this court. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I do. I think there's going to be some recruits at this game because obviously both teams have recruited them. And when you're a high schooler and you're just looking at the pure stats, GCU is the better team right now, without a doubt. Unless you're taking in the strength of schedule and all that rah-rah, I still love Bobby Hurley above anybody, but it's going to be a great game. I think if I was a betting man, I might just chuck a little on the over there because this is a in-state game and there's bad blood. We won on a buzzer beater last year.
That usually means more defense, though. But before we head out, score prediction. We need a score prediction.
All right, I say ASU wins 75 to 65. I think the boys in the maroon and gold got a little bit to prove. But was it last year or 2 years ago?
I think it was last year because we had the COVID issues. It was Remy Martin's last year.
Hey, we love you. I love you, Remy Martin. This might be a little one-sided, but we don't need you, man. We're going to be fine without you. We can beat these guys without a buzzer beater. All right?
That is all the time we have this week. We will be back consistently. Well, actually, I take back consistently. We'll be back on Monday next week, hopefully. And then we will obviously take the week of Christmas off. I will be out of town. I will not be in the state or in the continental United States. So
big trip.
we will keep you updated. Follow along at Dash Sports TV on Twitter, or you can catch us on Twitter with our names on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and have